And good afternoon, country mouse walkers. I am currently in Wainfleet St Mary, near Wainfleet Bank, and I'm going to take a walk over to Wainfleet St Mary Church. So just cross over the stile and then make our way past the horse, who doesn't seem too bothered by us. I was going to do this walk once before, but there was a very grumpy goose that wasn't keen on me being here, so there's no sign of him at the moment. Now I do apologise for the sun, but we will only be walking towards it for a short while. Right, what I have forgotten is kilt.verse.professes. Now that is the 3-word reference for where I started from, for anyone who wants to find me and follow me. I'm now walking southwest, so the sun you can see is winter afternoon sun, and I'm heading over through some horse fields. Good test for the new wellies, towards St Mary's Church, which is a grade 2 listed medieval church that that's been stood here since, and I did make a note of it. Whether I can find that note, bear with me. Stop using my phone because it's been a bit cold for my hands. So it's currently about 3 degrees, which is about 37. So I did go once. There's a caravan site over there and some horse fields we've just come over. So the church, 12th century, that's all I can give you on that, I'm afraid. So I'm going to go over the sty. Small dyke bridge, and then over the other side. So this is all farmland. That's been set. The land you can see beyond it. You can see, I'm not sure if you can pick them out here, it's got mounds on it, and there's another area just up here as well. It's used mainly for pasture land, for cattle. There is the only archaeological evidence of the old medieval Wainfleet, which was part of the big port that was once established here in the 1300s. If you've seen my walk down the sides of Wainfleet Bank, then you'll have seen and heard me talk a little bit about the old port. If you haven't, Wainfleet was a major port in the 12th, 13th, 14th century, up until 1500, where unfortunately the sea receded, the land started to drain, siltation took place, and it then became impossible for commercial vessels to come up through. To the port. So that land there then is all that remains, just Earthworks. So just going to pass through this fence and walk down the side of this other field, trying to keep the sun out your eyes as much as possible. It's January, UK is in lockdown, having to walk close to home, so these sort of walks are easy because I don't have to drive. I can walk to them to do them. So very, very muddy, probably due to the fact we've had snow, sleet, rain, fog, not too much snow, not like the rest of it's tried, but that's about it really. But you see everything very, very wet and muddy. Can we get a better idea of the hill lumps in the ground from here? Unlikely. But I just thought to make a walk. I'm not sure how long it'll be. So all this area is Wainfleet St Mary, a lot smaller population than Wainfleet All Saints, which has a small town at its core, but there's more, I think there's more land area at Wainfleet St Mary, but it's mainly agricultural and more spread out. If that wind is trying to block it, is catching. It's nice to have the sun, but unfortunately, whichever direction I seem to want to go in, it's facing me today, because it never really moves away. As I walk back the other way, it'll change. See, there's been quite a bit of flooding on the fields. I think the rivers are quite safe, the dikes aren't too full. Gradually this water that's on the field will drain into them. So where Wainfleet All Saints Church was demolished because the ground couldn't take the weight of it, and it was moved into the town, which grew up further east. Wainfleet St Mary Church has remained here. It has had 2 refurbishments in the 1700s, but I think basically besides that it's pretty much how it was. So once again, oops, muddy boots on wet wood. So bear with me if I slide about. So Lincolnshire Fenland has a network of drains like these. Drains, dikes, and that is to drain the land off so all that water you see standing can drain away, and to try and prevent flooding and the land not becoming usable. So for most of the time it works pretty well. So looks like there's a bit of a trail around here. Maybe I'm just imagining things. I think I'm might be imagining. But never mind, I'll go back. So I don't know much about this church. When my husband was a little boy, he used to play around here because his cousin and his uncle and auntie used to live in the house next door to it for many years. So it's been a well-established, long time here. Churchyard. Looks like it's having some renovations done. In the lockdown, I think worship's still allowed. I'm not 100% sure, but it doesn't look like this one's open at all. So the house you can see through the trees is the house I was talking about that they used to live in. And mainly grew up here before they all moved on. So I'm not sure if that gate opens or does this one open. Oh, maybe this one's the best one to go out of. That one looks like it's bolted. There we go. So we've got the parish of St Mary, St Mary's Parish, Wainfleet, I should say, and information. There isn't much of a parking area here, but it's oh dear, looks like somebody's stuck. A lot of water draining off down there. Morning.
Sorry, afternoon.
Afternoon, yes, I was just thinking the same. Yes, you sort of lose track. So this is Church Lane, surprisingly enough. Leads down to the medieval church, which you can't see from here. Over in that direction is the way we came. Across those fields over there, through the gap in the hedge and where the horses are, where the fencing is. So I'm hoping I've brought an extra battery pack out with me, but I've just noticed it's not charging. So hopefully we can get a little bit further before the battery pack's up. Don't like cold weathers. Batteries in these things, unfortunately. So I'm currently walking into the wind. So I'm meant to say please like, please subscribe. If you enjoy these walks or have information, please leave a comment. So that's the direction we just came from. You can just see the top of the church through the trees, and this is a long straight road that will lead you down towards Low Road and through Wainfleet St Mary into Wainfleet. Hope that spin round wasn't too fast for anyone on a treadmill. Those that are on a treadmill, as you can tell, this land is completely flat. It's a little bit hard work walking across the fields, but besides that, I really hope that wind's not causing too much problem. We'll move out of it in a minute when we get to the end of the road. Just hoping the battery stays long enough to get the view of the roadside of the medieval earthworks. As you can see, the fens are very, very flat. Apart from the odd house and the odd bit of tree line. You'll notice most of the roads in this area are fairly straight. So the signpost there, Visney 2 miles in that direction, and Thought Culvert 1.5 in that, and Wainfleet St Mary Parish Church back in the direction we came. So we're now going to walk, I'm sure you'll be pleased to see, away from the sun. And wind to our back. Hopefully that'll get rid of that noise. So we're now walking back in the direction we came, so we're sort of walking in a northwest direction on the roadside. These roads are the busiest roads between villages. They're not main roads. They're just main routes, I should say, would be better. And with lots of little small single track roads off them. And I know some people abroad in America and places will say this is a single track road. Unfortunately it's not. This is what we call a dual road. So I hope you're all keeping safe with this pandemic. If you're using these so you don't have to go out, I hope they're helpful and useful to you. If you're looking for places to come and walk once the pandemic's over and we can all move again and it all becomes better for everyone, then I hope I've given you some ideas. There is a stile down there, but I'm not sure how you'd get out to it through the dyke. Now I'm try again. We're a bit closer now because we're on the main road. If you can see the earthworks. Now from above they're clearly visible. From the side I can see them, but I know that when you film, the images you're looking at aren't generally as good and hard to distinguish. I mean, it is in 4K, so I hope it's picking up images better, but unfortunately you're not allowed. It is private land, and in the UK we don't have public access like a lot of places do. We're allowed to use public right of ways, public footpaths, but we have to stick to them. And to access private land you need permission. Oh, maybe that's a little bit clearer. Hopefully, maybe. So often these sort of lands that they allow public access through, or if they don't, they use them just for pasture land because of their historical importance. So that's the other side of the caravan site that we passed. That one's not a permanent one, that one's only open in the summer. If you saw my Wainfleet Bank one, you'll have seen that some of the caravan parks in this area are lived in all year round. A little bit of fresh plantation going on there. Some farmyards. Birds seem to be happier about the better weather at the minute, a little bit warmer. We've got the cattery, like a 5-star hotel apparently for cats, that one. Some of my friends use it. So if you saw my Wainfleet bank walk the other morning, that was this is where I started from, this crossroads. So I'm just going to take us a little bit further on. Got the sun setting behind us. Very peaceful. There's not many people out. If anybody's been out walking or anything, they must have been out earlier. I see a few people in the distance walking the dog. But that's about it. Over. I can see traffic coming, although the road's pretty straight round here. In case you haven't seen Wainfleet bank walk, that church, I'm sure it's St James's, and it's either being converted or has been mainly already done into a home. But I can see boards, and it still looks quite derelict from this side. From the other side it looks quite done. Could be a work in progress. Most of the properties in this area are one-off houses that have been either converted barns or the demands or had established foundations. The one to this side partially collapsed, is currently being renovated. Some were built for soldiers returning from the First World War, 1920s, 1919. A lot of small holdings, a small piece of land, a house and a farmyard. Many of them now, the houses have been sold off, converted, renovated. A lot of them were semi-detached, so a lot of people bought two, joined them together. Foundations are on concrete beds because of the land being very unstable here. I think nowadays, if anybody's given permission to build, they have quite large pylon foundations. And some of the brick buildings are either very old, 1700s, or often they've been built on the foundations of buildings that age. This sort of area, it's very, very hard to get planning permission on the land unless you can establish that you can gain a living from it, or there was already a building present. Although the way towns and villages are expanding, how much longer that will last, I don't know. Hopefully a while, because this area is beautifully and quiet. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to just turn up this lane here, which I've walked down before, so I'm not finishing by looking into the sun, because we are now coming up to 40 minutes in. So this is Westgate, and we're turning west. The sun's starting to drop, it's starting to get a little bit nippy. So this first house you can see is would have originally, though it's been extended and altered, been a farmhouse, one on its own, that sort of block shape made from concrete. The brick house next to it, built on the remains of a shed or something. You can sort of see in the distance there, a few white houses, slate roofs. They're all original farm. And more horses, looking a bit muddy. And the donkey. Hello, donkey. So, as we reach about 40 minutes, I think I'm going to call it, because I've got to turn further west, just up here, and that'll take us back towards the sun, which is now setting, and as I say, it's starting to get a bit cool. So I'm just going to got the bank of the Haven River steeping over there, and an image of the flatlands, farmlands around here. So thank you once again for walking with me. It's been great having you along. Hope you've enjoyed it. Hopefully soon I'll be able to travel further afield, maybe get into towns, get a bit more done that way. Gets lighter in the mornings, I can get out earlier, which gives me the opportunity to go places where when it's really quiet, especially at the minute. I'm not a big fan of bumping into a lot of people. So keep safe, everyone. Please like, please subscribe, please come back again, and hope to see you all soon. So for now, take care. Bye.